Philly Joe had joined Miles Davis. Miles loved the way he played. Hank Mobley was there, but he was about to leave. And he figured if he asked Philly to recommend a drummer, it would be somebody of the same ilk. So he said, "Do you know of any good tenor players in Philadelphia?" And Philly said, "Yes." He said, "What's his name?" "John Coltrane." "Ah, I never heard of him. Can he play?" Philly probably made the understatement of his life because he simply said, "Mm-hmm." John left the little coterie of musicians because we used to be together all the time. John and I were together all the time. And he went to New York. I saw him about a week later because they were rehearsing getting the repertoire together. And on Columbia Avenue in North Philly where we both live. I said, "How's it going, John?" He said, "It's going great. But Miles needs some tunes. Do you have any tunes?" Did I have any tunes? That's all I had. I mean, I look back at it in retrospect now. It was terrible. I used to meet people, and after I shake their hand, bam, I'd give them a tune. Did anything ever happen? Nothing. So I said, yeah. And then I thought about this tune. I said, well, maybe if I just send one tune. You know, if you send a bunch of tunes, it gets confusing. I'll send this one tune. And I didn't think any more about it because nobody ever recorded anything. And I ran into him about a month later, and he said, "You know that tune you gave me?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "We recorded it." I said, "What? Miles recorded my tune?" He said, "Yeah, he dug it." I said, "You're kidding me." "No." Prestige came out. Sure enough, there it was, Stablemates, and underneath in parentheses was my name. Well, I guess other people saw it, and they said, Benny Golson. Those lead sheets I'd passed out, well, oh, yeah, there's his name. Oh, yes. They started recording my stuff. I owe my beginning as a jazz composer to my dear friend John Coltrane and Miles Davis, who recorded it. Now, when I saw Miles, he said to me, "What were you smoking when you wrote that?" And the reason I gave it that name, you remember a trumpet player up in Boston named Herb Pomeroy? Herb Pomeroy, this is the weirdest thing. There was a really elegant restaurant on the ground floor, but if you went to the back and went down the steps, there was a jazz club back there downstairs, and it was called The Stables. Now, I was playing with Earl Boskin. We used to play in the Boston area a lot, you know, Revere Beach, Holyoke, and places, Peabody. And so we spent a lot of time, and I would go down and jam with them. And he knew I was writing, and he said, "Well, why don't you write something for us?" And after this thing I told you about my wife and everything, I sent that to him, and I named it Stablemates, because Stablemates means good friends, you know. And that's how I got the name Stablemates, because of Herb Pomeroy and where he worked.